guys, I'm Lizzie. 5 things that every beginner equestrian should know. Number 1 is tying a rope halter. Now there's a rope halter, but there's also a flat halter. Usually what a flat halter is used for, at least what I use it for, is for tying inside outside the trailer or tying to a hitching post or just getting from point A to point B, and that's pretty much it. I really like using a rope halter because it's great for training, and basically whenever you're handling a horse, you're training them. So I use a rope halter for pretty much everything. I also like to tie up my 12-foot line lead rope into reins, and I'll ride in my rope halter. And it's because a rope halter is a bit thinner and it has the knots on either sides of the nose. So it puts pressure on the horse's face in those areas. So you can use less pressure on your reins and on your halter to get your horse to respond. So you're not having to physically manhandle and pull your horse around, because a flat halter has very little pressure on their face, and it can be hard to control them if they are spooking or trying to run away or pull away from you, whatever. It's a lot easier to control your horse with a rope halter, and you can use less pressure when you're using it. So that's why I like it. So let's talk about how to put it on and how to tie it. Now, when you go to put on the halter, instead of going like this and trying to get their nose in first, what I like to do is I put my hand under the horse's chin just to have a little bit of control, put my other hand up over their neck, then feed this hand the part of the halter that goes behind the horse's ears. And I'll pull that over the horse's ears, and then I'll slip the hole over the horse's nose. You're going to take this part of the halter that goes behind the horse's ears, and you're going to stick it through the loop and pull it towards yourself like this. And you're going to tighten up just about so the nose band is about 2 fingers below the cheekbone. And then once you're here, you're going to take your tail, you're going to wrap it this way, you're going to go under your loop, pull it behind it like this. Then you're going to take this tail and you're going to stick it in to this loop, and you're going to pull it tight. That's how you do a rope halter knot. To know that you did it right, your tail should be facing the horse's neck. If you knotted it the opposite way, this tail piece would be pointing at their eye, which you don't want, and that would be how you would know you did it wrong. So you want the tail coming down towards the neck. Number 2 is a quick release knot for tying your horse to things like trailers. Obviously there's multiple ways to tie a quick release knot, and I've seen lots of different people do it differently with their horses, but this is the way I do it, and I like it because it's quick release and it takes up the whole lead line, so you don't have any lead line hanging on the ground that they can step on and pull it loose themselves. So let's demonstrate, shall we? So first we're going to go probably a little bit over a foot down from the horse's halter. We're going to make a loop, and we're going to stick it into the loop on the trailer. We're going to pull our loop down like this. Then we're going to take our tail and we're going to stick it through that loop and make another loop. Then we're going to take that tail and stick it through that loop. And we're going to take that tail and we're going to stick it through that loop. And we're going to take that tail and we're going to stick it through that loop until we have no more lead line hanging down. Bam. And you can obviously untie it really fast, but you could also tie it tighter so that there's less chance of it coming undone. So you just have your loops a little bit smaller, and then you give them a little tug when you do it so that they are a nice tighter braid. And you go all the way down like so. And then you pull it right here, and it's not gonna come out. But you pull right here, and it will. Good horsey, and good girl. Number 3, we're gonna learn how to tie up our cinch. Now, the knot I'm gonna show you, I know by the Texas T knot, but it might be called something different in other countries. But you can either use this knot to tie up your cinch, or you can just use the buckle on the cinch to cinch up your horse. Now, if you're new to the horse world, you probably don't know there's a big debate between using the buckle on your cinch or tying with your let-go. And the reason I use the Texas T knot is because I like to be able to tighten my cinch as much as I like and not have to rely on a certain hole to be at the right place where I want it to be. Yes, I could punch more holes in my let-go, but I just don't want to, don't feel like it. I don't have to, because I like using the Texas T knot. It's very common, very normal for horses' girths to change sizes while you ride, so your cinch can loosen on you when you're riding. So it's important to check your cinch while you ride and just make sure that it's not loosening on you. And that's a pretty common problem when you use the buckle instead of the knot, because the buckle will come loose on you more often than your knot will. So with that being said, let's tie this up, shall we? I have a mohair cinch that has a roll buckle on it, and if you don't have a roll buckle on your cinch, I highly recommend one. because it makes cinching up way softer and easier on the horse, and it's way easier to tighten it. So if you have issues tightening up your cinch, if you're not strong enough to get it tight, I highly recommend getting a cinch with a roll buckle. So, and I just have a leather latigo, which I feel like has more grip and it holds on to your knot a little better and it doesn't loosen on you as much. So I don't know if that's just me or if that's actually a fact, but that's how I see it anyways. So we're gonna take our cinch, we're gonna take our latigo, we're going to put our latigo through the hole of our cinch and we're going to pull it through. Then we're going to take our latigo, we're going to take the end, we're going to stick it through the D-ring on our saddle, and we're going to stick it all the way down, and we're going to put it through this hole again, and we're going to pull it tight. And now we're going to do that again, but instead of going all the way down through here, we're going to go to the left side, and we're going to pull it tight. We're going to take that, wrap it around this way, so we're going this way, and then we're going to go under the D-ring and through like this. So we're making a loop like this. Then we're going to take this end and we're going to put it through that hole and we're going to pull it tight. And there is your Texas T-knot. And to tighten it, we're just going to pull on the top piece of our latigo and just work it way up. We don't want to start off tying our cinch super tight right away because oftentimes our horses are a little bit bloated before we start riding them, or they're just more relaxed. And so if we tighten it really tight, we can give them a side ache. So what you can do is you tighten it just enough that it's going to stay on, and you can exercise your horse for a couple minutes and then tighten it all the way, and just then you are ready to get on or do whatever you were planning on doing. So let's finish tightening this up. Then we're going to take the end of our latigo and we're going to stick it through this keeper. That's how you tie a Texas T-knot. I also have a whole video on figuring out the right size of cinch that you need for your horse. If you're interested in that, you can go check that out. I'll link that up right there or over there, wherever it is, and you can go check that out. Number 4, we're going to talk about putting a bit on our horse. Now this can be kind of stressful when you're switching from a halter to a bit when you're at a show and whatever. So it's best to learn how to do this at home when your horse isn't super stressed out or distracted or whatever. So let's go over it. I'm going to hold my bridle like this on my arm while I go to take off my halter. Now there are ways you can put your bridle on and take your halter off underneath it, but it's kind of difficult and messy because you have to like bring the nose piece down through their mouth and stuff, and I don't really like doing it. And if you can figure out how to do it without that, it works fine. What I do is I get ready with my bridle, so I put my bridle on my wrist like this. Then I'm going to slip off her halter like this, and I'm going to put a hand under her chin just so that I can kind of keep her here with me. Her biggest thing is that she just likes to drop her head and eat grass, so not the end of the world. But if your horse is trying to like pull away from you or run away from you or whatever, it can be kind of difficult. But just have a hand on their face or whatever. If they try to pull away from you, what you can do is you can turn their head into themselves like this and turn their butt like that, and it'll keep them from running away and keep their feet moving here so that there's less them pulling away, because once they start pulling that direction, you're kind of screwed. Right? Also, a helpful way to lead your horse without a halter is to have a hand on the chin and a hand under their head, and you can get them to move around, move their feet by doing that. I do that a lot, and it's helpful to train the horse to know how to do that. So, okay, anyways, we're gonna take our bridle like this. We're gonna take our hand, put it on the bit, and we're just gonna slide it in between their lips, and we're gonna hold it here until they accept it. We're not going to slam it against their teeth or anything. If they're being kind of dull or not really paying attention or not accepting the bit, we can start putting our finger up in their lip like this and start tickling their tongue a little bit, maybe encouraging them to open their mouth. There. Now she accepted it. And we're just going to try to, sorry, get it around the ears without her putting her head down like that. Good girl. And for number 5, we're gonna go over how to properly hold our reins. Now, holding the reins correctly, to me, seems like one of those things that at least new trainers tend to overlook in their students, but I think it's a pretty important element to training. And to hold your reins correctly will help you get your aids across more clearly to your horse, and you'll have better success. So the proper way to hold your reins in your hands when you're not just riding casually like this, and you want collection in your reins, and you don't want it to feel sloppy, you don't want to be messing around with a lot of rein and trying to get your hand down there and move your horse around. You just have a lot of rein to deal with, and it can be really messy and difficult to be organized with all that rein. Right now I have my barrel racing reins on, which are pretty short. They're actually reins for miniature horses, but I have a smaller horse, so these work great for barrel racing for us. So I don't have a lot of issue with messy reins with these reins, but I do ride with my 12-foot lead line tied up into reins, so I deal with a lot of messy rein situations a lot, and you can avoid a lot of that mess by being organized with your hands and holding them correctly. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna hold your reins up like this. You're gonna take your hand, you're gonna slide it down so that you have an even amount of rein in both hands. And you're just gonna hold your rein so that your pinky is on the bottom, your thumb is on the top. You're kind of pinching the rein between your thumb and your pointer finger, and you're just holding it gently in your hand like this, so that when you're riding, if you need to, you can kind of twist your hands in to pinch that rein so you have more control, more collection on the rein. Or you can just be a little bit more relaxed and just let the rein sit there. Now, if we have a lot of extra rein right here and it gets kind of messy and in the way, and we have a hard time keeping our hands evenly spaced on our reins, what you can do is what's called bridging the reins, and that's where you pick up your reins and you have all this middle slack between your hands. You're going to cross that middle section, and then you're going to pick up both ends with either hand so that your hands are evenly spaced and you have an even amount of rein in both hands. And this is going to help keep your reins very organized and very clean and very demure. Anyways, so we're riding like this. We got our pinkies in the bottoms, we got our thumbs up, and we want to turn that way. What we do is we pick up our hand and we put the rein in between our thumb and our pointer. So we're already like this, so all we have to do is just slide it like that. And we're going to point our horse that way. That's how we get our horses to turn with their front legs. Now, if we wanted to turn their hindquarters, we would pick up our reins, we'd slide our hands down so we're evenly spaced, and then we would take our pinky, we would pinch that rein down, and we would pull our hand up towards our shoulder. We'd push with our foot, and we would get a turn. But if we just wanted the horse's head to our knee, we would just slide our hand down the rein. We're not going to pinch it with our pinky. We're just going to put light pressure on the rein, and we're just going to pull gently towards your knee until we get a release, and then we'll release pressure. Good girl. And obviously you can see that her head didn't come fully to my knee, but I released anyways because I'm training her to release to the lightest pressure, and that is by doing little bits at a time. Instead of sitting here with forced pressure and pulling her head to my knee, I'm going to ask her gently to come to my knee with the lightest amount of pressure. And I'm going to release as soon as I get some of that release from her. Good girl. Good. And the last thing is just backing up. So how we back up is we just pick up our reins, we slide our hands down, we get nice and evenly spaced, and we're going to take our pinkies and we're going to pinch that rein down under. We're going to lean back and we're going to put a little bit of pressure, and we're going to release as soon as we get a step back. And that's how you properly hold your reins. That's it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give a big like and subscribe. I've got more videos that might help you out if you're a beginner that you can go check out on my YouTube channel. I'll link some around here somewhere so you can go check them out. You can also go follow me on Instagram and TikTok, and I'll see you guys next week Sunday. Bye. What's that?